cut off my famous intro in the last one. First time using the the Riverside platform, which was acquired by Spotify. So I think we're good now, and we're also live for the first time ever on YouTube.
Wow, fantastic!
On the wannamakeabet.com channel. So everybody from now and going forward will be live with all these shows. But crazy
very cool
in the NFL yesterday. Yeah.
I'll tell you, the week one, we knew it would be hard. I mean, it's very tough to handicap these games. The week one, you just so difficult with the spreads, and some games kind of went like we thought and others didn't. So, that's what makes a horse race, that's, as they say.
Let's go through the card. Miami, Jacksonville. I mean, I liked Jacksonville. You liked Miami. Did you say you used them in one of your survivor pools? I
got through on Survivor. It was amazing. Jacksonville blew that game.
Oh, I know. Are you crazy taking them? I guess that wasn't that. I don't know. Maybe 3 to 5% of survivor pools had Miami.
Well, McDaniels, like I said, was 6-0 in week 2. In weeks 1 through 3 in his 2 seasons. Now he's 7-0. Miami's he never lost. So I mean, I don't know what that means for Thursday night.
Your mic is hot, by the way.
Oh, is it hot? Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Off a little.
Yeah.
Good.
But I was saying, I don't know what that means for Thursday night. I know Josh Allen, was 11-1, I think, in his last 12 against Miami. So he's been their kryptonite. But I know he injured his left hand in that game, which is his non-throwing hand, obviously, in the comeback win in Arizona. But interesting to see if McDaniels is going to continue that streak, that hot start Miami streak, going up against a team that he kind of never beats. It's going to be interesting Thursday night. But as far as the Jacksonville game, I'm sure you watched it. They were dominating the game until basically Travis Etienne was running in to make it 24-7. He got stripped from behind. Miami fell on the ball in the end zone. Tyreek Hill next play, 80-yard touchdown. And boy, oh boy, Jacksonville never scored again.
I know.
I
momentum. I mean, we'll talk about other games that had that momentum shift, that there's always that play that can do it to you. And I agree. That's what did it.
I'll tell you also, though, I didn't love Peterson at the end of that game. Like, he stopped letting Trevor Lawrence throw the ball. He only threw the ball twice in the last 3 series or something like that.
Yeah.
I didn't get that at all. I just.
You have any opinion on the Tyreek Hill situation before the game?
I saw the video of it. I thought it was excessive by the cop. I thought it was excessive. I mean, there was no reason. He's been suspended, that cop, so they're investigating it. But I'm sure, I think he was going 70 and a 30 from what I read. I don't know if that's true, but he gave him his license. And then he just wouldn't roll his window down. And the cop freaked out and dragged him out of the car and threw him on the ground. Like, it was a little much, I got to say.
I agree. It was a bit much, but I also felt when I saw I was watching Get Up this morning when I was icing my back, and I agree with Stephen A. Smith that he was uncooperative. He was uncooperative.
Yeah.
He was like, give me the ticket. Let me get out of here. He rolled up there in his $300,000 car. He didn't want to roll the window down.
Yep.
Wanted to get out of there quick. He was a little disrespectful. And what did you expect?
Somewhere in the middle lies the truth. I think it was excessive by the cop. I think it was kind of stupid, actually, what he was doing to the guy.
But both sides bear a little responsibility here.
Yeah.
I definitely, when I first heard about it, I was like, oh boy, here we go. But, after seeing the body cam, I was like, you know what? You could have been a little more compliant.
Well, isn't that always the case? I mean, for whatever reason, people don't want to listen. It's a simple thing. Just listen to the guy, give him what he wants, roll down your window, turn off your music. I mean, it's not that hard.
That's right. Totally agree. All right, let's move on. Pittsburgh, Atlanta. God, were you right about this? I was so wrong about, you know what? I was wrong, and we were wrong about both 40-year-old quarterbacks returning to the game. Neither one, Aaron Rodgers or Kirk Cousins, did well. And
I think Rodgers was okay. He acquitted himself fine.
Yeah, you're right. That was a much different beast. But Kirk Cousins had plenty of opportunities, and he made some bad plays and bad throws, and he didn't look comfortable.
Yeah, the bad interception certainly to the Elliott kid who came over, we got from Baltimore, which was great for us because the secondary, we needed some help in the secondary. So our back end looked really good. I'm impressed with the
And
Steeler
they
defense.
still-
I told you Watt was going to be great. You know, he had 2 other sacks I didn't even credit him with. They called him off sides on one where he sacked him and stripped him and recovered the fumble.
I saw that.
Like,
That was unbelievable. That
yeah.
they called that.
I know.
He
And the
jumped.
one thing with Tomlin, like I always tell you, that Tomlin really frustrates me with his time management, and he fucking did it again. He fucking had a chance, 30 seconds left in the half. We get a completion to Calvin Austin inbounds, and the clock is just running. And he has 2 timeouts. He doesn't use any of them, and he goes to the half with 2 timeouts in his pocket. I mean, as Todd Fass, my buddy, always says, they're not party favors. You can't take them with you. You may as well use them. The fact that, I mean, if he calls timeout right there, then we at least have another 2 shots potentially at scoring 7. Instead, he lets the clock tick down. Pickens gets the catch out of bounds, and we settle for a field goal. I mean, it's just stupid to me. He drives me crazy with his time management skills. I mean, I love the guy as a motivator. He's the best press conference guy, a coach in the league, and you know, the players love him. He's a good coach. He's never had a losing season, but his in-game shit and the math, he struggles with the math and the time. He always has.
Yeah. Well, congrats. Good win. Good to get out there 1-0. That was a solid win for Pittsburgh.
It was solid. Atlanta's a pretty decent team, and to go in there, I don't think they threw the ball enough to Drake London. Honestly, they didn't get him enough touches. But it is what it is. Listen, our defense is tough. You know, it's hard. It's hard for a quarterback with these guys bearing down on them all the time.
Exactly. All right, Minnesota Giants.
Man, was I wrong about that? My God.
Could not get you. I mean, not that I wasn't like, pounding the table for us to take Minnesota, but I was very clear in my opinion about how bad the Giants are, and that was only confirmed on Sunday.
Yeah, it certainly was. The offensive line is still bad. I was worried about their linebackers trying to stop the run. It turns out the back end, I mean, they were letting up, these completions, and they really, they didn't really pressure the quarterback as much as I thought they would. Thibodeau had a terrible game. I don't even think he touched the quarterback once. That was a surprise to me. Burns is great, and Dexter Lawrence is great. But Danny Dimes, I mean, he threw the ball right to Van Ginkel on the 5-yard line. I mean, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
You can't do that in the NFL. I don't know what the hell's going on with that guy.
What's interesting is that the starting did Dane Belton start?
Is he on the Giants?
The safety. I'm only bringing that up because he's one of my students. He's one of my golf students.
How's his swing?
It's okay. He just started playing golf, and he joined the club out here, and he's obsessed. But I saw his name on my calendar one day. He lives in Tampa, and I thought it was a mistake when I first saw it. But he was like, I talked to him before the lesson, and I said, "Was this a mistake?" And he said, "No, I live in Tampa half the year." And I said, "Oh, you just up here for work?" And he goes, "Yeah." And I said, "What do you do?" And he said, "I play football." And I didn't make the connection.
That's so funny
until he walked through the door, and I was like, "Oh my God, this guy's built like a."
This guy's on the Giants.
Plays for the Giants.
That's pretty cool. I'm not sure if he started or not. I don't think it mattered. I think you were right about Sam Darnold. He impressed me. He was 9 for his first 9 without an incompletion.
I liked him. I never thought he got a good shake in New York on the Jets, and he got a few looks in San Francisco, but. It's not going to surprise me, honestly, if he's a top 15 or 20 quarterback in the league this year until I don't know if McCarthy's going to get the start. Darnold may just play the whole year for them.
Yeah, I'll tell you, the Minnesota coach is also a quarterback-friendly coach. He's really smart offensive coach. And Hunter Smith on Minnesota got his 35th career interception. That guy just finds the ball. It's amazing. He's incredible.
I have them, I give them look, I have them as the 4th best team in the North. I may reconsider that. I don't Chicago wasn't that impressive to me.
You know who had a good game for them is Aaron Jones, the running back, came over from Green Bay. He had 95 yards rushing and a touchdown. So he was very good with Green Bay. I was surprised that the Giants defensive line wasn't better. I just had it wrong. I didn't think Danny Dimes would be awful. Neighbors, I thought Neighbors would be great. He had 6 catches, but only for like 60 yards. So they're not throwing the ball downfield. I don't think he has time to throw. He got sacked 5 times.
Yeah.
Giants are not good, but I'll say this: they beat they have a really good history against the Redskins, the Commanders.
Yeah.
The Commanders. They seem to beat them every time. And I know Jaden Daniels is a rookie quarterback. Maybe the Giants get right this week at Washington, but I doubt it. But they always beat Washington. I mean, always.
I'll be passing on that game. Let's move on to Titans Bears. Speaking of,
my God, what a tale of two halves. I mean, the Titans were dominating the game. I mean, Caleb Williams did nothing. The block punt, returned for a touchdown, changed the game, changed the whole goddamn game. Titans immediately went into a shell, couldn't do anything on offense, and then still had the lead in the fourth quarter, 17-16. And then Will Levis, I mean, inexplicably was getting sacked and tried to like Patrick Mahomes a flip 20 yards down the field on the sideline, and it just fell right into the corner's hands. He just ran it back. I mean, it was really bad.
You have Carson Wentz.
Yeah, I mean,
that open hand, like the flip, like inconceivable that
it was
this league that could work. And maybe even worse than that was the way he put his hands on his helmet.
Yeah.
Like, what did I do?
Young player, making a dumb mistake. I mean, at Kentucky, maybe that works, but in the NFL, are you kidding me? And the Bears have a good defense.
That cost us the cover. I mean, we went 2-3 on our picks.
I know.
We easily could have been 4-1.
Without question. I mean, I thought we had that game the whole time, and then we didn't. Not only did we didn't win it, but we didn't even cover the 4.5 or 4. I think we're getting 4.5.
We had everything. We had a money line win. We had the easy cover. We had everything.
And then at the end, I think even at the end, they just couldn't get it to a point. The offense just died. I mean, it was bad.
That was a classic sports betting example of being on the right side and losing. Like,
there's
no reason why Chicago should have covered that game. And
they did not. I think Caleb Williams threw for under 100 yards.
Yeah, he was not good.
He was horrible. And Oduzze got hurt. He's got an MCL, the rookie receiver out of Washington. He's out multiple weeks too.
Yeah. So I was impressed with Tennessee despite what happened there at the end. But
it's going to be interesting. I'm going to be in Nashville this weekend for my birthday for the Jet game. It's going to be a very interesting game to go to.
I like
Jets Nashville. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's move on. Houston, Indy, fantastic game.
Everything we thought he'd be. Yeah,
that landed on the number, right? Weren't they getting 2?
I think they were in my pick pool. That half point killed me in my pick pool. I think I lost that game.
Is that right? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. Richardson was impressive.
I like Richardson. I think Richardson's really talented and big boy and ran that. Man, did he run that guy over? Like I told you, I thought he reminded me a little of Josh Allen. He's got that cannon arm. He can throw it 60, 70 yards in the air, and he's not afraid to run people over. I just hope he could stay healthy.
Yeah. Let's keep going here.
You know who was great in that game for them, Jack, that we didn't mention was the guy Pierce, the wide receiver from Cincinnati a few years ago they drafted. Mm-hmm. He had 2 touchdowns. I mean, I don't even know if Pittman had a catch.
Oh wow.
Which was weird. Yeah, it was Pierce. I mean, it was really interesting. People are picking him up in fantasy this week, I'll tell you that.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Josh Allen, I don't think Buffalo looked very good. You had a lean toward Arizona in that game. I kind of did too, but I didn't have the balls to do it. But man, they looked good.
What was the final? Did Arizona cover that game by a half point, right? The Buffalo won by 6?
Yeah.
Yeah, Arizona got there. So we were on the right side. Arizona had a lead for the better portion of that game. And then Josh Allen became Superman.
I know. I actually went on a walk at some point in the second quarter, and they were down by at least 10. And I came back, and they had just tied the game at the beginning of the fourth quarter.
Yeah,
they were going to come back.
You know, it's really funny. I don't know why I get a kick out of this. I mean, I probably was a few drinks in and I started laughing, but I find myself giggling a lot when Kyler Murray runs.
Why?
He's so little. He's so little.
I know.
And he just looks so much smaller than everyone else out there. And he's so fast.
Meanwhile, he's 6'2".
Is that true? He looks like he's 5'8", and everyone else is 7 feet, and he's just running by people. It's amazing.
I think Brad called him a mosquito.
I'll tell you the biggest bust of that game and the biggest surprise, Marvin Harrison Jr. had 1 catch.
Mm-hmm.
He was non-existent. James Conner and McBride, the tight end, dominated that game for them. And a guy named
receiver.
That guy Dortch.
He had a big drop actually late in that game.
Did he really?
Yes. And also, I was listening to another pod, but basically Harrison was open several times and didn't.
Oh, really? And he didn't get it.
Yeah.
Of course,
I don't read too much into that.
And Josh Allen, of course, had the early first half turnover, running, strip from behind, fumble. That's a concern for Thursday night because he's got a left hand injury. He has a hard time holding onto the ball when both his hands are right. And when he's got an injured hand, maybe something to look out for Thursday night.
Yeah. Panthers Saints. No.
Wow, what a drubbing.
With the Panthers, I have them ranked like as low as possible, but very much surprised by the way the Saints played. They look great.
They looked unreal. Derek Carr looked amazing. I mean, every time I think that Kamara's getting old, he puts up a nice performance again. And the concern for the Saints going into Dallas is, number one, they beat up on a bad team. So they're a little overrated, I think, going in this week. And I think Lattimore is out. I thought I saw that he pulled his hamstring. So, I mean, who the hell is going to cover CeeDee Lamb?
Right. Let me see. I got an injury status.
Yeah, he had a hamstring. He left the game. I'm not sure how he could play, with a hammy a week later. But these guys are amazing athletes. Maybe he does come back. I have no idea. But
Nick Underhill of the New Orleans Football reports that the hamstring injury suffered is considered to be minor.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
So that's good news.
Yeah. Good win for the Saints, and probably interesting play this week. I think they're getting 6.5.
They are.
Number that has to go to 7. But Dallas probably overvalued slightly after beating up Cleveland. I don't know. That's an interesting one.
I think you're right. I think the Saints are overvalued a little bit, and Dallas has won 16 consecutive home games in the regular season. Obviously, they lost to the Packers in the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
And it's their home opener. So intriguing.
Entire country will be on them in Survivor, and we know what happens.
No, I think this country is going to be on the Ravens 9.5 to the Raiders.
Yeah, probably. And speaking of the entire country being on a team for Survivor, Cincinnati.
They crush people, man.
35% of Survivor polls.
I know. Listen, I'm in one, and we have 120 people, and 48 of them had Cincinnati.
Yeah.
So that was good for me. I squeezed through on Seattle. My theory.
Talk about the fact that we had Tampa.
Yeah, twice.
No,
I used to. Yeah.
And on the podcast Survivor pick, we didn't emphasize that, but
we sure did.
Tampa. We decided not to take Cincy. I had Buffalo with another one of my teams, but I lost one of my smaller value Survivor entries on Cincy.
Yeah. You're not alone. A lot of people did. Cincinnati looked horrible. Like we said, we were worried about the fact, number one, the line went from 9.5 to 7.5. So the people knew. Number two, Burrow, Chase, no Higgins, no preseason. These guys don't play. It was going to be sloppy, and it was. They did not look themselves. And I think they're down on offensive linemen. Also, they've had some, defections and trades or, free agency shit. And
Burrow's wrist isn't exactly right. I didn't think he had a lot of zip on the ball. His throws didn't look great.
That's something to watch because they're going into Kansas City, and he's 3-1 in his career against Kansas City. So I'm going to be interested to see if he can bounce back. That would be really interesting this week, and I think that's probably the game of the week, to watch.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to Denver, Seattle, one of our winners. It took a while. But
Seattle looked horrible in the first half. Geno Smith was not good. They took 2 straight safeties somehow. I've never seen that. 2 safeties.
I saw.
in one half. I mean, but it was 10-9 at the half. And, the kid Bo Nix, he had like a lot of attempts, but he was throwing the ball like 3-5 yards. He wasn't throwing the ball down the field.
I think
And eventually,
offensive performances of the whole league, Denver.
Yeah, I mean, they played harder than I thought they would on defense for the first half. I was actually really pissed at myself. I was like, how did I get this wrong about Denver's defense? How are we not running on them? And then all of a sudden, Kenneth Walker just took over the game in the second half. Yeah. So I was right. It just took a while.
I'll also say that I was really impressed with, and I've been, I think I mentioned this on the pod. One of the reasons why I really like Seattle is this Mike McDonald.
Yeah.
Their coach.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
The guy from Baltimore, that defensive coordinator.
Unflappable. He even when it was close in the first half, he was like stoic. Like he was in complete control.
He's like it's interesting. It's such a departure from what's his face?
Pete Carroll.
Pete Carroll and his goofy gum chewing and his holly jolly bullshit. This guy's a no nonsense guy.
Serious.
The defense is they're suddenly like very defensive minded.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. This is I like Seattle this year. I'm gonna be watching them close and playing them close. I think they're a little bit. I would give them a bump after that.
Yeah, Metcalf's got to be better. I mean, I know we spoke about it. I said Surtain is Denver's best player, and he's going to be on him, and he shut him down. I mean, Metcalf was a non-factor.
Yeah. Okay, we're on to Vegas and the Chargers, which we passed on.
God,
Jim Harbaugh's debut was very solid. How about J.K. Dobbins from Ohio State? Finally.
I mean, that's the way Harbaugh wants to play, right? And we talked about that OC. He likes to run the ball. They like to play defense. They have some studs on Khalil Mack is just so goddamn good. He fucking took over the game. I was really, really pissed at Antonio Pierce, the coach for the Raiders, because I like him, and he made one of the I think my bonehead coach move of the weekend. I mean, they're down 7 in the fourth quarter. With 7 minutes left in the game, they're on the Chargers side of the 50 on like the 45-yard line. Too far for a field goal. 4th and less than 5. I think it was 4th and 3 or 4th and 4. And he punted.
What?
He punted that ball. And I was saying to myself, how are you punting here? This is the NFL. Every other coach goes for that. You have to go for that. And of course, the Chargers got the ball. They marched it right down. Dobbins had like a 60-yard run, and immediately it became a 14-point deficit, and the game was over.
Oh my God, I didn't see that.
I'm telling you,
you have the Raiders.
I had the Raiders. Yeah,
I guess so.
And they were terrible. Zamir White, who I thought would be great at running back, he's so fast, and he had a couple good runs, and he fumbled. It's like. You got to hold the ball,
Yeah.
It was disappointing. The Raiders are really disappointing. They have some talent. They have Max Crosby, who's really good on the line. They have players, but that coaching move I thought he lost the game. In my opinion, he lost the game. And Minshew sucks, by the way. Minshew was horrible.
I told you.
Horrible.
I know.
Another guy who stinks. I mean, he couldn't. God, I mean. I thought that he could, like a journeyman guy, he has experience by now, but man, I couldn't help myself but just scream at him. Go back to your trailer. You're awful.
That's great.
I was so pissed at him and so pissed at the coach. And
God.
by the way, how about this? Throw the fucking ball to Devontae Adams. He's open every play off the line.
Mm-hmm.
And Minshew didn't even look at him half the time. Moron.
Oh, God. Okay, Tampa, another one of our winners, Tampa Skins.
Baker Mayfield looks great, and Mike Evans did it again. 2 touchdowns.
No, I mean, this guy DeJuice was trying to guard him. He's like,
oh, yeah.
I was like a man in a
St. Juice. But you know what? He was kind of on him, but he just couldn't cover it. Listen, that guy's very hard cover. Yeah. Baker's playing some great football.
Yeah.
He really has become good.
Oh, don't remind me, Joe.
I know.
Speaking of that, the Cleveland Browns were not ready to play Dallas.
No.
I tried to tell you. You
Yeah.
even had Dallas in the fucking.
I had him in two nice
You joined me
long
in saying
teasers.
that we were not ready to play that game.
Yeah.
This would have been one of our picks.
Yeah, I thought you guys were going to win by 3. I really didn't think you'd lose to them. I thought your defense in this game was atrocious.
And I didn't. They weren't good, and I didn't learn until late that we're gonna have both Conklin and
I knew that, and Willis.
Jedrick Wills.
Yeah.
Out.
Both those guys didn't play.
Questionable. They didn't play.
Yeah.
That
hurt. That hurts.
And fucking Deshaun Watson refused to take a snap in the preseason. Why didn't he insist on getting some reps in? He hasn't played in 300 days.
Why didn't Joe Burrow? Same thing. These guys don't want to play in the preseason anymore. You know what it is? It's the players' union.
Watch that game and his bitchy face and his fucking disappointed body language throughout the whole fucking game, and watching him slouch.
He's not a leader, Jack. He doesn't look like a leader to me.
God.
But I'll say one thing.
Trade Baker for him.
I don't know. The GM has to be fired. I think the GM should be fired. I mean, first of all, you don't. And they guaranteed him all that money.
He went to Harvard.
You can't even get rid of him. If you want, you have him till 26. Like if you get rid of him next year, you have 170 million in dead cap space. Think about that number. 170 million in dead cap space.
They restructured it.
The worst deal.
I'm telling you, I'm not going to actually. And when it first happened, I was like, you know what? We ran into a buzzsaw. Dallas is one of the best teams. The same way. They looked
really good. Dallas looked way better than I thought they would look. I didn't think they had a secondary receiver. They had Brandon Cooks, had a great game. Yeah. Their tight end was getting the ball. They were running the ball. Their defense was really good, better than I thought.
Like the first half was literally a perfect half of football, with the exception of one dumb Mike McCarthy thing with 15 seconds left. But Dallas is, just like San Francisco and us liking the Jets, like you take these teams that are not ready to play last year's best teams. They don't need to do the camp thing. Teams like Dallas and San Francisco, they're good. They're good. I
mean, and they gave Dak all that money right before the game. He came out on fire. I know. Micah Parsons.
Not hold it too much against. I mean, we play Jacksonville this week. It's not going to be an easy game. They're already at 3. They came out as a 3-point.
3.5. I think it's 3.5. Yeah. Wow.
Saying they already took money, and they looked. It's gonna be a tough week. That said, it was disappointing.
You made a good point on the text string today that maybe this latest rape charge against him will get you out of the contract. Oh, actually, Reed said that maybe the Browns will be able to use this latest lawsuit that was filed yesterday. I don't know if you read the sordid details of that. It was pretty unbelievable. I don't know if it's true or not. Who knows with these women? Some of them can make it up. I don't know. Like she invited him into the house. Blah, blah, blah. She wanted to get her makeup on. She came out. He was naked in the bed. He said, "Come over and massage me." And it's like crazy shit.
I don't hear any more of these.
I think it's nonsense. I don't know what it is. Who knows? I don't think he's a good guy.
Rams, Lions. I mean, we got another game. We got screwed. We were on the right side of this game. And by the way, I was so tired. I went to bed. I didn't stick around for overtime. And these games go till
the game was phenomenal. It was the best game of the weekend. The two teams were literally both NFC Championship caliber teams. Stafford was incredible, out of his mind. Yep. Cooper Kupp is uncoverable.
How about when I jinxed?
You did.
I jinxed Goff.
That was sick.
On the text string, I said
you sure did.
He's outplaying Stafford. He's playing perfectly.
And then the interception. That was amazing. It is funny how that happens.
Gerard held it against me. Thanks, Jack.
I know he does. That's so great. But I will say this about McVay kind of fucking pissed me off. And I said to Todd, I'm watching the game, and Todd and I say this all the time. We've been saying it for years. During the game, on this podcast, these coaches hate points. And McVay, it was 3. Yeah. It was 3-3.
I know.
It was 4th and 5. They're on the 30. They're indoors. Take the lead on the road 6-3. What are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Wait, I think it was actually, wasn't it 4th and short and they got a penalty and went for it anyway? Was that game? That wasn't
that series. This was in the first half. It was in the second quarter. It was 3-3. The Rams had been playing toe-to-toe with them. And you know what? 4th and 4 on the 30. You have a kicker who can knock it through easy, take a 6-3 lead. You know what? A drive, Todd said this, and I agree with it. A drive that ends in a kick is a good drive. Extra point, field goal, or punt. Those are fine. They're better than turnovers. It's better than going for it and not getting it. All of a sudden, the momentum goes the other way. And momentum is huge in football.
Yeah.
I just don't get it sometimes. You know what McVay said after they asked McVay after the game about that. And he said, last year we struggled in the red zone. We couldn't get in and we kicked field goals and we didn't win. And I knew coming in here that I wasn't going to kick field goals. And you know something? That's a predetermined thing in his head that cost him the game. You have to play the game as it's unfolding in front of you. I hate when these guys do that.
Yeah. Well,
by the way,
all that said, Cello, we were, again, like in Tennessee, we were on the right side.
We got so fucked in that game.
I mean, 4.5, and the fact that they marched down the field after going away from their strength for most of the second half, Detroit, which is running the ball down people's throat.
Yeah.
They got right back to it in overtime, ran it down right down the field and scored.
It's amazing how tired the Rams defense was, how dominant the Lions offensive line became on that drive. Like, the one thing about the overtime in the NFL, and I understand it, like these games, you can't have these guys just battling forever in overtime, but to lose a coin toss and lose a game, it's just, I don't know. It just felt wrong to me, but I get it. There's no solution for it. You can't go to college rules and put the ball on the 25, all that nonsense, but it's just unfortunate that Stafford never had a chance to touch the ball because his defense was so damn tired that they couldn't get off the field. Yeah.
I hear
it just felt bad.
Great game though.
Really great. I mean, I thought the game of the week, I thought that game and the first game of the week were probably the two best, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And then we had last night's not surprising stinker by the Jets.
I was really surprised that the Jets defense wasn't better, Jack. I'm sorry. The Jets defense is supposed to be elite. I heard more goddamn excuses today from every Jet fan that I know about how good San Francisco is and how the scheme and the coaching and the blah. They didn't even have McCaffrey on the field. They had a backup kid that was a 6th round pick who had never played, rushed for 150 yards and 2 scores. Like, that can't happen.
I don't disagree, but the Jets offense should have done better.
Yeah, they had 7 points in the first half. It was 16-7 at the half, right? So the defense was, I think what happened with the Jets defense, what I didn't like is, I know you can look this up, but I think there was that the Niners had 8 consecutive drives where they scored. I mean, you can't say that you're an elite defense and allow a team to score 8 consecutive drives, even if 6 of them are field goals. It's still not good enough.
Those are moral victories, but you have to agree when you hold teams to field goals and you have a good offense, that's usually a good recipe.
That's what Rodgers said. Rodgers took blame for it. He said, listen, we got to be better on offense. He's like, we didn't have a lot of plays. He said, we only had, we had a couple 3 and outs. We had the interception on the tip. He said, I have to be better and we have to be better. He goes, they scored a lot of times in a row, but the defense are holding them to field goals. We have to be better. Like, Rodgers was accountable on that. And you know what? He didn't seem panicked to me. He seemed like they're going to right the ship here. And I think their schedule is pretty easy for the next few games. So you could conceivably pick your head up and the Jets could be 4-1.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of how it could be. There's a big game in Tennessee this week. I'm going to be there for my birthday.
And Todd's a Jets fan, right?
I actually followed your trick. I went to Marshall's and got a Jets shirt for $8.
No. Oh, by the way, are you serious?
I swear.
Because when I found this one,
I know
there were 3 Jet ones right next to it. But I said when I was in the rack, I said, "Wow!" And a guy like 2 rows over said, "What?" And I said, there's a Browns shirt in this store. I mean, we're in Bridgehampton and there's a fucking Browns shirt.
That's awesome first of all, the fact there's a Marshall's in Bridgehampton is amazing.
Bridgehampton Commons.
Who knew?
I think that's like where all the workers shop and me.
Oh, it's great. By the way, I had never been in a Marshall's. Marshall's is pretty sick. I was like amazed.
Oh, it's great.
Holy cow. I got a hat. I got a Jet hat for $8. I got a Jet that 47 brand,
Yeah.
$8, and a
They
pair
have,
like
depending on when you go, they dump like good brands in there. They could have like J. Crew stuff. They could
right,
have,
yeah.
The day I went, they had a lot of Callaway.
That's unreal. That's
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm all set. I had to. I mean, I'm obviously a Steeler fan, but I mean, for me, if I'm going to the game with Todd, I got to wear some Jet shit. So I bought some shit to wear.
Well, we'll talk again. When are you leaving for that?
I'm leaving Friday morning, coming back Sunday morning.
All right.
Monday morning. Sorry.
So
I'm gone this weekend.
We'll do a preview show Wednesday this week.
Yeah, or maybe Thursday night during the game.
Okay, I like that.
Why don't we do that?
Okay, sounds good, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for everybody watching on YouTube for our first live show. We'll do this every time now because it's integrated with this new platform, and plenty of time to still start a league at wantomakeabet.com or get into most.
Yeah, jump into Megabucks New York. It's the best league. It's so fun. We got plenty. You got till week 8 to get in.
Megabucks South open. Megabucks Philly is closing this.
Oh yeah, Philly, right?
Monday,
Megabucks Philly.
So get in your league or start one. And if you're thinking about starting one and you have any questions, just reach out to me at jack@wantomakeabet.com.
Manage your bankroll.
All right, buddy. Have a good one.
See you, pal.
Enjoy
Bye-bye.
the debate.
You too. Bye-bye.